watching The Blues Connection. I'm Matty T, and today my guest is Steve Evans, a phenomenal bass player. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you, sir. Nice to see you.
Nice to see
again.
you. So, Steve, it's great to have you here on the show. Yeah, I know you have an extensive history and resume of different artists that you've performed with.
I do. That also means I'm old too. Extensive history. That's okay. It's okay. Go with that.
Didn't mean to point that out, but
pretty obvious.
But anyway, if you tell me a few of the people that you've
most
notable that you've enjoyed, or
most all of them. Started way back in the late '60s. Played with people like Etta James, Bo Diddley, Lee Dorsey, who wrote "Working in a Coal Mine," old New Orleans guy. A lot of these people are unfortunately passed away now, but they're wonderful to work with. They were. Elvin Bishop, that's more recent, one of the great blues artists. And Bob Weir of the Dead, because I lived in Marin most of my life, and I met most of those Marin guys. Let me think. I forget now, it's been so long. There's a new guy, Chris Kane, who's unbelievable, great guitar player. And there's this great artist that nobody outside San Francisco knows, named John Nichols. We play at this little club in San Francisco called the Gold Dust Lounge. And this guy plays every tune in history, every style, unbelievable. And he's a great bass player and a really good drummer and a really good singer. He's just a freak.
Where's he from?
He's from Virginia. His father was in Jimmy Dorsey's big band, so he's got the jazz thing down big time, but he loves pop, funk, rock, blues, Brazilian, everything. Country. He's a great bluegrass guy, of all things, too. He's an amazing artist.
Do you think? How does somebody like that get that good? Do they just?
His dad obviously was a big time jazz guy, so he got the jazz thing from him. But he just, it's a natural thing. He must have a musical photographic memory, because it's like unbelievable. He can remember all these tunes and all the parts to all the tunes. It's just weird. It's the weirdest thing.
So when you're playing with him, is he particular about what you play?
No, he's really a sweetheart, actually. Some band leaders can be kind of jerky, as you may know, because you play music too. Of course, you're a band leader when you play sometimes. I don't know if you're jerky or not. I don't think you are. But he's a sweetheart.
I might be.
Yeah, yeah. Mark that down. Anyway, yeah, he's a wonderful human, and I know a lot of parts of songs. I know parts of thousands of songs.
Okay.
So I've put the other parts together with help of him and playing there a lot, and the other good people I've got to play with. I have a few others that I played with. I did a session with Eddie Money once. By the way, Eddie, you owe me $90. That was in 1970. I hope you have it. And with interest, that's about $120 now. So.
You don't forget.
No, I don't. He's still a good guy, though. He was fun.
When did you first start playing bass?
I was 14, and
did you
I'm
start
getting
on
up
bass?
there now. I started on accordion when I was 10. I'm half Italian. My mom was all Italian, and if you're an Italian kid growing up then, if you want to play music, you play accordion. So I played it. I practiced some. I learned some tunes, which was cool. But when the Beatles came out, I wanted to play Beatles tunes on the accordion. At that point, they just didn't sound that good on accordion.
Right.
So I kind of put that down, and then this friend of mine had a band, and they needed a bass player. So I went over and tried to play these 3 notes one night, or 4 notes. It was to Gloria by them, Van Morrison, right? That old song. And I could barely do it. But by the end of the night, I got it, and I was in love with the instrument and the whole idea of music and all that. And it was from then on, I've been playing pretty much.
So you wanted just to play bass, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty
cool. What was your first bass?
Oh, what was it? It was a K bass, I think it was. I wish I had it now. It was probably be worth some money. But K bass and a little silver Supro amp. I don't know if you remember those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sound like crap, actually.
So that was in the mid '60s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Late '60s. Come on, I'm not that old.
Just checking.
Close. Keep practicing. You
need practice, man. But,
no.
So how old were you when you did your first professional gig?
God, I don't remember exactly. It was this great corny band called the Family Outing. And it was a family, of course. It was in Mill Valley, and it was at the Mill Valley Rec Center. I think I got paid about the same as I got the other night. in San Francisco. My dad was so cool. He rolled in a big old, Showman amp with two 15s and a Showman top, man. We had went to a guitar store and looked at stuff, and I had no idea he was going to get me something. He rolled that thing into the gig, and I was just about crying for me.
Where was the music store that you would go to?
It was Don Weir's Music City.
Oh, okay, yeah.
On Columbus in San Francisco. Bobby Vega, the great bass player, a good friend of mine, worked there too.
Okay.
So
that's where I bought my very first Stratocaster.
Wow.
Was at Don Weir's.
Yeah, it was a cool store. Cool store.
Yeah.
You know, that block and a half, Tower Records, one of the
Right.
all-time great music stores on Columbus and Bay, which is no longer there. It's a Walgreens. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah.
That's rough. And the music store's, of course, long gone, too. So, but it was great in those days.
So when you made the step to being a professional.
Big step. It was a big step. It was an accident. Just professional, meaning I was playing full time.
Right.
I did a gig in a top 40 gig. Brown polyester leisure suit, platform shoes. We were doing
What
all
year?
the
What year
disco
was that?
stuff. It was 70s, disco
Uh-huh.
era. Boy, we must have looked like idiots. That was called Natural Feelin', with an apostrophe. Been in some of the corniest band names ever. Bands that were named corny. There was a friend of mine, a great drummer friend of mine named Jim Hobson. Played in L.A., played with some big artists. We were comparing bad early band names. He was in one called Shenanigans. Hope you guys aren't listening. We're in Shenanigans. No offense.
Were you in a band called the Corny Toes?
Yeah, no, but that's right up there. That's a good one. Yeah, you gotta. There should be a website for old corny band names.
Yeah,
it really
really
ought to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. So I'll finish that story. So we were playing at the Roadway Inn, of course, in Sacramento,
Uh-huh.
6 nights a week, and it was just kind
So
of.
you no longer had to have a day job.
Yeah, that no longer had a day job, and for a while didn't have a night job after I got fired. I think I got fired from that band. I forget why. I think the keyboard player didn't like me or something. I don't know. Something was weird. But anyway, it was a fun experience for a while. It was like 6 weeks. You'd play there, then you'd go to their other venue, which was another weird hotel in San Jose or something. Did that for a while. I think I started not liking it too much after that because the band wasn't that good at all. And I started hearing other guys and was playing with some other bands. In the day, I was rehearsing with some other bands. I go, boy, these guys are way better than these guys.
Was there more opportunity then?
Oh yeah. There are many more clubs then.
Right.
Clubs are still closing now, too often in my book. And just less and less places to play, and then there's disc jockeys instead of some gigs that some people would get, like playing casuals and weddings and stuff like that, which whether they're musical or not, they employ you, and then
Right.
some of those are going away. So
Yeah.
it's definitely tougher.
Who's some of your favorite bass players?
Oh God, all the greats, I like them all. R&B wise, Jamerson, all the great jazz guys, Ron Carter and all those guys. Jocko, of course, Larry Graham, Verdine White, and Earth, Wind and Fire, Stanley Clark, all.
Do you know any of these guys?
I met a few of them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, over the years. Either on gigs, playing festivals that they were on, or something. A lot of the New York and L.A. guys I love. David Hungate from Toto is a great funky bass player.
You've probably had opportunities that you've played and had some of your favorite players see you play.
Yeah.
Have an interaction after that and nice things said.
Robin Ford. I'm still playing with Roy Rogers, the great slide guitar player, and I was playing with him more full time in the '90s, and we did a tour with Robin Ford's Blue Line band, which is a great band with Tom Breckline and what's his name? My friend, the bass player. What's his name? Roscoe Beck from Texas. And Robin came up after I did a solo one night and said, you're great bass player. And then a few years later, I was playing with this guy, Coco Montoya, this blues guy out of L.A., and Robin's manager called and said, he wants you to do the band for a while, play in the band. And don't take that wrong. Anyway, yeah.
So you didn't
Wait
do
a
the
minute,
band.
now that I think of it, play in the band. So I couldn't do it because I was in Europe or something with Coco, and I just couldn't get back in time. Something was weird, and I couldn't do it. I really regret that. I would love to play him. He's one of my favorites, Robin Ford.
Yeah, what a compliment.
Yeah, that was nice. Randy Jackson once, a great bass player, came up to me once and said, "You play. It sounded great." That was
That
before
feels
he
good,
was on
huh?
yeah, that was
Yeah.
before he was in L.A. and did all that stuff.
Right.
But yeah, he was a really cool guy.
Well, that's a good story.
Bonnie Raitt, I can't tell you exactly in on this interview what she said, but it was very, very flattering. You are a mother.
You
nice
can, because
person.
this is internet, and the internet, we're not restricted. You can
Oh,
say
okay,
anything.
okay. Okay, so I was playing with Roy Rogers again, and she came to this club that we played, this cool little club in Mill Valley called the Sweetwater, that a lot of famous artists have come by and played there and stuff. And she was waiting to talk to Roy. Roy had played with her, I think, with, who did I say? Did I say Bonnie Raitt? Bonnie Raitt. Mm-hmm. She's the one. So she came downstairs. Roy had played a few gigs with her, and she was looking for Roy, and he wasn't downstairs in the dressing room yet, and I was there, and I go, oh, wow, I'm a big fan of yours, Bonnie. She goes, you are a motherfucker. I go, wow. And I took that as a compliment. I know that's what she meant. And that was really cool. We talked for a while. And then I kind of threw it out there as a joke. I go, well, hire me then, you know. And she goes, well, I got a motherfucker in the band. Good line. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, you're watching The Blues Connection. I'm Matty T. My guest is Steve Evans, and we'll be back after a word from our sponsor.
Hi, Carol Gilpin here, and the holidays have arrived. So we want to remind you that Fleet Feet Sports in downtown Vacaville is your place to do your holiday shopping. We have footwear, so gift cards are perfect for that. We have a lot of apparel for men, women, wonderful socks from Belega and Features that I'm sure anybody in your family would enjoy, and a mirage of accessories that is perfect for stocking stuffing. So we're at 354 Merchant Street in downtown Vacaville. Hope to see you soon. Happy holidays.
Yeah, I wanted to mention a couple other bass players
Yeah,
that I love and am inspired by when I listen to them still. Some here, some not here. Of course, Duck Dunn, you know, the R&B guys. John Patitucci from Chick Corea's band and his own stuff. Gary Willis.
Have you been to Stax Records in Memphis?
I been to Stax? No, I went to Sun Studios though.
Sun Studios, yeah, that's pretty cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I need to go to the
Sorry to
Stax
interrupt you, but I just...
Abe Laboriel. God, he's a wonderful bass player. He's like one of the first guys that kind of did the flamenco guitar thing, but using all his fingers playing bass. So, and it's musical. It's not like a guitar player where they say, "Oh, you play like a guitar player." No, he's just a fantastically great, funky, wonderful musician, Abe Laboriel. And his son's great, too, his drummer's son, who plays with Paul McCartney, Abe Laboriel Jr. Great family.
Have you met them?
I met Abe a couple times in L.A. There's a wonderful little tiny club where a lot of great musicians go to play when they're not recording sessions. We're not doing recording sessions. The Baked Potato, which is just over the hill from Hollywood in Studio City, I believe. Great little club, man, to see some of the greats. Will Lee, of course. Marcus Miller, all the New York guys, of course. Neil Jason, all those great New York guys, the jazz, funk guys. Amazing stuff. There's many, many more, but I just definitely wanted to mention some of my heroes. Will Lee, I said Willie. What's his name? Victor Bailey. Victor Wooten. Fantastic players. So.
Have any good stories that you could share with artists?
No.
No,
I met Jocko. I was at the Disneyland Hotel at the NAMM show once, and I'd never met Jocko, and I heard he was going to play up in one of the rooms of the hotel with some great jazz guitar player, and I get in the elevator to go up, and there he is. So I said, "I'm a big fan." He goes, "Oh, thanks a lot." Now, that was my Jocko experience, and I listened to him, and it was wonderful. I met a couple other guys. I was coming from Roger Sadowski's. These are not musicians, but they're great guys. Coming from Roger Sadowski's shop on Broadway in New York City when I was getting the preamp put in my bass way back in the 90s. And it's like an artist entertainment-y kind of building, right? And I get in the elevator there, and who gets on? We go down one floor. Who gets on? Steve Martin and Ron Howard. Same elevator ride.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're both pretty tall. I didn't realize they were that tall. And I had to pop off and I said, "I'm a big fan." They were nice. They were nice. Yeah. And one good one. This is not really that musical either. But when I was 18, and since I was living in the Bay Area, big deal to go to L.A., which I still love going to L.A. because there's entertainment and music and food down there, and the beaches and the people on the beaches are kind of cute too. So it's a cool place to go for me. Somehow this guy, this real good guitar player I was playing with at the time, one of my first bands, he said, let's go to L.A., man. We'll bring our girlfriends and his brother and him and me and our girlfriends. We'll go down there. We'll hang out and have some fun. Somehow, we get to NBC Studios in Burbank. This guy talks his way. There's like only one security guard there. It wouldn't be like that now. He talks his way on the set of Johnny Carson. Johnny Carson had just recorded. You know, they record early, the late night show. I think they recorded 6 o'clock. And we probably got there about 8:30 or something. This guy talks his way, and we're walking in the studio. I go down and sit in Johnny Carson's chair like that. His cup was there. I picked up his cup. It was an amazing moment. We didn't get reprimanded. We went down the hall, and they're filming. We looked through this porthole, and the red light was on like they're recording something else in another studio. It was Sanford and Son. We were looking in this porthole, all of us, looking in our heads sticking in, looking in the kitchen of Sanford and Son. And Lamont, his son, was in there waiting to go on the living room. Lamont, remember Lamont?
Yeah.
He turned around and stuck his tongue at us. It was funny.
No
funny
kidding.
as heck. Yeah, I don't know how we got on there. But that was a fun trip. That
Very
was
cool.
one of my good memories, yeah. So, still trying to make some.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what about I asked you earlier about performances, and you mentioned tell me something else. Big moment on stage, big something.
Oh
Big.
boy, that's
Give me something
big.
Something
Well,
exciting, something or disastrous.
Oh, I know.
How about a bad problem?
There's been plenty of disasters. I was leaning over once and a PA horn fell on my head, on my neck. I was playing in a psych ward of all things at Presidio Hospital, and I thought one of the guys went nuts and hit me or something. And this, was in the old days when they didn't even set up PAs very well. They would like stack a horn just on top of one of those round horns on top of the speaker, and the vibration rolled up. And I thought this guy went crazy. I'm dead. That was kind of a disaster. But on a good note, some good gigs. I played a lot of the good jazz festivals in the world because they allow blues musicians and others to play there now, which is cool. Montreux 3 times. That was fun.
Wow.
Played with some Swiss pop star there. That was fun.
How did you get a gig like that?
I was with Brian Auger. Brian Auger was playing with this Swiss pop star, and so we toured Europe. He got me to do that with the guy.
Uh-huh.
So he was famous. He was like the Neil Diamond of Switzerland. Gold records, which you only have to sell about 25,000 to have a gold record over there at the time, anyway. And it was fun. His name was Phil Carmen. He was a very nice guy. Very cool. And played in Rio a few times, I think I said. Argentina, Australia, Japan, Korea. Played on an air base in Korea. They let us look at a U-2 plane. It was really cool. Really cool. Because, there's a lot of tension over there.
Right.
North Korea, South Korea.
Right.
So,
Very
pretty cool.
exciting.
Pretty cool stuff. And a lot of good Europe stuff,
Did you imagine yourself traveling as much as you've traveled when you first started playing bass? Was that ever a goal or anything?
I thought Sacramento was it for me when I did that first Top 40 band. I thought that'd probably be it in San Jose. No, I had no idea it would be like that.
How did you meet Roy Rogers?
I think he called me. There's a lot of word of mouth stuff in music. He's a local guy, and I was playing with some pretty good people. Maybe I was playing with Charlie Musselwhite, who's one of the great, blues artists. Funny guys,
He's on an album,
music.
a new album, or a fairly recent album with.
Somebody famous, some pop thing or something maybe.
Who is the guy? I have the album. I can't think of it. It's a phenomenal album.
Yeah, he's quite a guy. He's really funny. It's really cool. I did my first tour with him, going to a van to Chicago in the middle of summer, and I got to play with one of the great drummers of all time, blues-wise, named Fred Below. Fred Below played with everybody from Muddy Waters to everybody.
Tour in a van?
Yeah, he was already in Chicago. He didn't tour with us. It was 3 of us and him, and that was quite a trip. Oh my God!
Would you say your music career is glamorous?
There's been times where it's been glamorous for sure. Limos and
Right.
plane thing, first class and that kind of stuff. But generally, it's like for me, it's been like van rides across the country a lot. If we're not going to Europe or something, then it's not that glamorous. Sometimes roadies are a great glamorous addition to any trip, and I haven't had roadies that much. That would have helped a lot. That would help now, actually. But so I'd say in between. Mostly
someone with
regular.
an extensive career like you've had. I mean, really, it's amazing. I mean, all the people you've played
Yeah,
with.
diversity-wise, absolutely. I've gotten to play with some wonderful. I love all kinds of music. I love
You should have
every
a
kind of
roadie.
music. I should have a roadie. Anybody down there want to be a... No.
Yeah.
I still do sometimes. Not me personally, but I mean the bands I'm in do sometimes.
Right.
We play some cool festivals. There's always people that move your gear and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You just come in with your bass.
Yeah.
So
Very nice.
Yeah.
Fine provided.
Yeah.
Very cool. We're going to take one more short break. Thanks. Hi, we're back. Today my guest is Steve Evans, and we were just taking a break, and we were talking about some of the artists that he's played with through the years, and earlier in the show we were talking about that. But these are some people that Steve wanted to mention, and so anyway, please mention them.
I will, yeah, because they're very important to me. Ray Manzarek from The Doors. I got to play with him up until he passed away in May. What a sweetheart, what a blast to play with the guy. I would stand behind him every night, and as an encore, we'd do Riders on the Storm. And even though I guess he did it with his left-hand bass, on that keyboard bass that he used to play, I would play the line. I get goosebumps every night, man. It was great. It was Roy Rogers and Ray Manzarek and Kevin Hayes, the old Robert Cray drummer, ex-Robert Cray's drummer, and myself, and we did a lot of touring and did a couple of really nice CDs. So I'm really proud to have played with him and hung out with him, got to be friends with him. Really cool guy. Brian Auger, one of the great keyboard players in this world, in my book. Played a couple albums and a couple years with him. Played with Joan Baez. She was fun. I just did one gig with her, but it was a Prince's Trust concert, which was for Prince Charles and Lady Di in the 90s in England. I met George Martin there. Van Morrison was there. It was wonderful. So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's a cool gig.
Did you meet Lady Di?
I got about 6 feet away from her. She was beautiful. Like 6 feet away from them, but there was an after-hours thing upstairs in the arena that we played, and it was a party, but you couldn't quite get right there, but you could get close enough that you could see them, I could have stuck my head between the security guys, and I wanted to do that and say, hi, I played with Joan Baez. I just wanted to say hi and thank you for having us, but I didn't do it. Kind of wish I did.
Yeah.
I would have been out of jail by now in England, I think.
Would have been immediately arrested. But,
Yeah, I know. Would have been worth it.
You have like the greatest job in the world. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I love it especially the last number of years where it's been where I've been playing with wonderful players, like really, really fine musicians, and every gig's a challenge but a blast, very elating, very exhilarating is the word I'm looking for. So I'm happy. Chris Kane especially is one of the all-time greats. He's a lot of great guitar players' favorite guitar player. Oh, and there's one other guy. How can I forget this? Eric Gales. Eric Gales from Memphis, left hand upside down. 3 brothers. One of them passed away. All amazing guitar players. This guy is so funky. I mean, Memphis ghetto, the whole thing. Just a great singer, great guitar player. It's kind of funk meets hard rock meets blues, and great at every one of them. Amazing tone, amazing technique. A lot of YouTube of him. Mm-hmm. A lot of YouTube of Chris Kane too. I did 5 CDs with him and a live DVD. And there's this guy I got to mention, an old buddy, sort of. He's an old buddy, Mike Varney, who's he's pretty much responsible for a fair amount of heavy metal and shredder music and stuff like that. He's put out many CDs, and he knows everybody. He got me to plan some cool albums. He got me the Eric Gales thing, and I got to do Pat Travers' 20th album. I just played on an album that, what's his name from Los Lobos, David Hidalgo was on, and Luther Dickinson was also on, who's from the North Mississippi All-Stars, and I think he plays with the Black Crowes now. And this guy named Matto, who plays with this great band, Indigenous. It's a touring kind of blues rock band. So that was a fun album. So Mike Varney got me on a bunch of really cool albums. So I got to thank you, Mike, in case you happen to see this.
Do you have some favorite shows, concerts that you've done?
Oh, concerts. Oh, that I played, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that Prince's Trust. Prince's Trust means his trust are his charities. That's what it was for. So we played in a big arena, like 16,000, 2 nights in a row, and it was great with Joan. And meeting George Martin was really a highlight, the Beatles producer. Man. He's about 8 feet tall and just a sweetheart. He was on that show directing a children's choir. It's really cool. And Mark King, the great funky bass player from that band Level 42, which which is a great kind of a fusion pop band from England, if you may remember them. He was nice enough to lend me his $5,000 worth of gear to play on the gig. Oh, he was a really cool guy. That was a fun gig. Played around the world. Been lucky enough to play like in Australia and Rio and Argentina and Japan and a lot of Europe. Every state except Alaska. So I'm going to have to get up there at some point so I can say I played in every state. So,
How much of your time has been on the road?
It used to be a lot. I used to go out like for 6 weeks at a time, then be off for 4 weeks and stuff. But now it's not as much. It's much more local. I do recording and I do maybe 4 or 5 live shows a week. Small clubs to whatever.
Tours are not as.
Who'll ever have me.
Tours are not as
prevalent. No. Well, that maybe for some people, but for some reason the bands I'm playing with, they're not touring that much. I don't know why Chris Kane isn't touring every minute, because he's unbelievable and the band's wonderful. So it's a little tougher, because like I said, the clubs are closing and the money's not there as much.
Is it the economy too, you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Economy. So if it comes back ever, then maybe we'll have more, because live music better never go away. It's just too soulful of a thing, and emotional of a thing.
Do you have a favorite instrument?
Yeah, that one over there, that Strat, that's worth about $5 million. That's my new favorite.
It's on sale.
$4,980. You mean my?
As far as your own personal.
Oh. Yeah, I play this. I have about 20, 25 basses, and.
Where do you keep them? You keep them at your house?
Yeah, all over the place.
Wherever you go.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. But I play this 80s Squire that I got from Juan Alderetti from Mars Volta Band. I used to teach him for years, and we're good friends still. He got my 70 Precision Sunburst fretless bass, and I just didn't get a great tone out of myself, and he got it from me, and he wanted it, and that's become his signature, and he gets tremendous tone out of me, plays it great. And he got me this 80s Squire bass that sounded just a jazz bass. It sounded amazing, a Japanese 80s Squire.
Fair trade?
Yeah, fair trade. Well, my bass with him got on the cover of Bass Player magazine at least once or twice.
Oh, that bass.
Yeah, that bass. You've probably seen it, yeah. And I'm proud of him. He's great, man. He deserves his fame. Anyway, the Squires, it's just a stock Squire, stock pickups, but I put a Sadowski preamp it because I love the Sadowski stuff. But it was a great bass to begin with. It's a cool bass. Records great, plays live great, plays great. Nice bass. So.
How about rigs? How about amp rigs?
Oh boy, got an hour. I have about a 2-car garage full of stuff. I used to get some endorsements. I still get a few endorsements here and there, and I bought lots of stuff, and I still buy lots of stuff because I'm always looking. I guess, some of my favorite stuff is I like to use power amps and preamps because I like the punch of a power amp and I like the extra watts. Not necessarily for volume. Right away people go, it's going to be too loud. No, I really do like it for tone,
Yeah.
And a couple different preamps. I have an old Alembic F2B, which is a tube preamp. A Demeter, which I use a lot. It has a great send to the PA.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Warwick one. I have a Sans amp pre. A couple others.
Do you change just how you're feeling? Because they're going to all sound a little bit different, so you're not set on one particular tone. I guess it's a variation, but
I guess the closest ones for me are that work for me in most situations. Because you can bring a $10 million Myers system to some terrible club, and it's still going to sound not very good. In my estimation, anyway. But I'm going a lot with the Demeter and or the Alembic. Sometimes I use two. I use an AB box. Use one for one cabinet and use one for another cabinet. EQ them a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Not literally bi-amping, but where you put the highs through one, the lows through one, but just having two separate complete controls for each cabinet.
Right.
So I do that once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
You care about cables, things like that?
Yeah, I'm not big on the expensive cables, although I can hear a touch of a difference. I'm sure there is, in the long run, probably some different thing. I've had some good ones, and sometimes it sounds like I'm getting real close to the same tone with the not that expensive one. So I'm not sure.
You're not sure
in that department.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Hate to do that. I'm going to have a bunch of people hate me after this.
I want to thank you for helping sales here.
Yeah, but great. The chords are great. I'll go buy one right now if it'll make you feel better, okay?
Hey, we'll be right back.
Hey,
we're back. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Steve. Learned
Thanks,
so
man.
much, and What a great pleasure it's been. And again, this is the Blues Connection, and thanks for tuning in, everybody.